Okay, on the live, on the live. Just a second. Checking the system. It says I'm live. Just gonna check that. Okay, we're live. Cool. How's everybody doing? Comment hashtag live if you're watching us live. Comment hashtag replay if you're watching a replay. My name is Gene Adam, and this is Paul Atherton, the best
Hi guys,
coach in UK.
how you doing?
Cool. How you guys doing? Nobody's on at the moment, but hopefully somebody will come on and we can do the live Q&A. So Paul, tell us about the 7 keys of the sales process.
So yeah, for the replay viewers who are watching straight from the start, what we're going to do today is we're going to give you the foundations of a sales process that will, once you master the basics and apply it to what you do, it will 10x your sales and your income. That's what it will do. That will be the immediate effect of this system, this method of selling.
Yeah.
So do you want me to go into it a bit more, Gene?
I'm sorry?
Want me to go into it a little bit more?
Yes, I definitely we should probably do the questions in the end. I'm gonna come up with some cool questions as we go because I watched a lot of your trainings and I realized there's so much good stuff in here. So I'm sure I'll see a lot of questions that usually come up in people's minds. But the 7 keys to 10x your sales, your income, and your life, that's definitely something what people are looking for. So tell me more a little bit about the inner game.
Okay. The inner game is the first of the 7 keys. And the inner game is the revelation of our motives. It's when we have when we put in the witness box what our motives are for any given situation. We're talking sales here, but this model applies to everything in life. It was revealed to me at a time when I was at my lowest. I was in rehab. It was my first day in rehab, and this truth was revealed to me then, and the rest cascaded over a period of days. And so at first it was kind of like there was an awakening moment there for me, and it was about my life. But then it just fell into place around sales when I returned to the workplace, and from there it just amplified and exploded the sales business. But the inner game, that's step 1. It's like, look, everything that exists in the world first existed in the mental world, right?
Right.
Everything, everything that's here first existed here. It had to be a concept. It was a thought at one stage, and it was a thought then developed, a thought logged into, and then it grew, and it became a visualization, and then it was born as a reality, as a product, a service, as a song, as a piece of art, as any creation within form. So it took form. Right. Yeah, and so it was it was a thought form, and then it became an actual form in the world of reality. Mm-hmm. So the first thing was that was to me, although it's obvious, so much of this stuff is so obvious, it's like hidden in plain sight. We overlook it. So I was looking at the situation of my life at the time. That year was my biggest earnings year ever. Mm-hmm. As a manager in a direct sales business, senior manager. That year I'd earned £278,000. Okay, it was the end of the tax year. It was April. So
it's about 400,000, right? 350,000.
Yeah.
1/3.
So that's what I'd earned that year. And I was so obsessed with money, I'd lost contact. Although I was living in the same house as my family, I lost contact with the family. I was working 18 hours a day. It was all about the money, all about the possessions, all about the material wealth. And I just lost connection with anything that wasn't material. And
anything with purpose?
There was no purpose. It was pure goal.
Right.
Everything was goal. And, there's plenty of ways I could have dealt with that, but the only way I found that seemed to work was a bottle of Jack Daniels every night. And of course, then that turns on you in the end. So I ended up in rehab. And it was then when I was questioning, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I've got so much going for me, all this stuff, you begin to start you're doing an analysis of yourself. You check in with yourself. It's like, what the hell am I doing here? I've got intelligence. I'm not stupid. I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other. So why am I here? Why is my best thinking and my best intellect and all of my best strategy landed me in a mental hospital? Because that's what it actually is. They call it rehab, all nice and posh with famous people in there and all the rest of it. But it's not. It's actually a mental hospital. That's what it says on the sign outside. So I'm questioning, what am I doing here? And it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Wow. Yeah.
That I had created it in my mental world unknowingly. And it then became a reality in the real world, because nothing can be born in the real world without it first being a mental form. So the habits, the attitudes, the way I was managing my life was heading in a direction that was only going in one. It was only going to finish in one place. It's like when you're running out of petrol, right? You're driving on the freeway. You guys drive on the freeway, and your petrol dial's going down. Right, but you just keep looking at it and you just keep ignoring it. I'll keep going. At some stage, it's going to run out.
Yeah.
I was ignoring the dial. I was ignoring it, and I ran out of petrol.
Yeah.
And when it hit me that was actually, it was my design that did it.
So that was your lowest point, right?
That was the lowest point out of the lot. I was considering suicide. There was nothing left, I thought, at the time to live for. But actually, with hindsight now, I reached the most important crossroads of my life, and it was absolutely crucial that I got to that point. And everything changed at that moment. Everything changed when I saw the truth and let it just wash over me. I didn't argue with it. I accepted it for what it was. I designed this. This was a result of all my best thinking. Nobody else can be blamed for it. But there is a plus to it. If I'm here because of my best thinking, there has to be a way forward with my best, with good thinking. As the starting point, with right thinking, with right visualization, there has to be a way forward. And that was the first thing. And the way forward was not goal. That was the second part of it. One was my thinking determines my external world. The second one was I've always come in from goal. I want to get the money. I want to close the sale. I want to win the clients. I want to manage the sales team. I want to have the car. I want to have the holiday. It's all get, it's take. And I saw the flip of that, which is give. And intellectually, I'd got that, but I'd never got it here. And there's a big difference between here, I've learned, and here. It's a long way.
How did you overcome the time when you hit the lowest point and you decided to actually turn it all around? Like, how did that happen?
This was the point where I had that experience. It was like, I was considering suicide. And then the moment I just accepted my situation.
Was it a switch? Was it something?
Yeah, no, it was about time went. What happened was nothing. I didn't gain anything. Things fell away, things dissolved. So time dissolved. And so 4 or 5 hours went by in what to me was 5 minutes.
Wow.
And also the story dissolved. The story of Paul traveling from one place, going to another place, a long-lasting separate entity called Paul with a story and a past and a future, that all fell away. It just stopped. And all it was just there. I was just there. That everything was, it was just that situation. And the realization that my thinking was clear. For the first time in years, my head was clear, completely clear. There wasn't a thought stream. Now it did come back, but for those few hours, it was pure clarity. Pure clarity. And then what came to me was I'd been running my life on goal and achieved every goal I'd set, but nothing was satisfying. I was still dissatisfied on a very deep level. And what I needed was another form of a fuel. I needed a different fuel than goal.
So how did you find purpose then? Tell me the other side of the coin.
Yeah, the other side of it was, again, it was in that period of 3-4 hours when it was timeless and it was storyless. Yeah. And I was just reflecting on what I was left with. So what am I left with if I strip away everything that I've held dear as important, all the financial stuff, the money, the house, all that. If I strip away all of that, all of the financials, all of the material stuff, what am I left with? And there was not a great deal that I was left with. I was left with an awareness that coming from goal as my fuel landed me in rehab and would only land me there again. It's like what they say in Buddhism, a lesson is repeated until learned. I would just go round and round. And that realization was clear. So then I realized what I was left with with one or two passions, and one in particular, and one area that I was uniquely qualified to teach and do in the service of others. And I'd always been extraordinarily gifted in this area without trying. In one area, and actually since then, with all the entrepreneurs I've worked with and everybody I work with, and having my friends, my circles, everybody has one thing. Everybody has one thing that they are unusually gifted at, extraordinarily gifted at. We've all got it. And I realized that one thing was about communication. And I am an encourager. I'm an enthuser. I encourage people. It comes naturally. I want to encourage people along, join them, get behind them, give them some strategy to get to their goals. I love seeing people achieve their potential and more. I love people to go beyond it. I've always done that. Even when I was lost in all the noise in the bad times, I still got some satisfaction from seeing my people achieve their goals. And I was left with that when everything else was stripped away and I was considering suicide. Once that had passed and it was just another thought and I'd let it go, it was like, this is what I'm left with. I'm still left with a passion for encouraging people and for getting behind people and rooting for the underdog as well. I love rooting for the underdog, man. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
So that came to me, and it was like, this is better than goal. If I just do this all the time, if I find a way to spend my life encouraging people, getting behind people, using my experience to give them strategy for now to help them on their journey, and if I just exploit my passion, exploit the way I'm gifted in that area, in the service of others, rather than in the pursuit of a good, nice car or another holiday to the Bahamas. If I exploit it in the service of others, then I'll get the satisfaction I've been searching for, that I didn't get in material things and I didn't get from Jack Daniels. I'd get it from this.
Right.
Because I knew I'd get it from this because I felt it when I was thinking about it. And then it was what occurred to me was, this is not goal. This is something else.
You know what's fascinating is that I've heard so many stories about this, and near-death experience really changed people's lives. And it seems like it just keeps on repeating, and always it's all about the purpose. It looks like a lot of people, like, they get to the point of like me, and then they hit the wall, something happens to them, and then they realize, wait a minute, why do I care about that? Like, it's not about me. It's about helping people. It's about, I'm not talking about like just like donating money to Africa, but you could do that. You could build schools in Africa or other places, whatever, South America, whatever. But in reality, if you take the most influential people in the world, it didn't seem like they cared about their own well-being, but someone else's. And it keeps on repeating. And the beauty of that is that actually you can help so many people out there. Why help one person yourself if you could help so many? And in the end, you will be rewarded for that anyway.
Mm. You see, for me, because I was always so goal-driven from a child, fundamentally selfish to the core. Mm-hmm. That's the reality. I was selfish to the core. I had no desire to help anybody. I didn't. But then when this concept came that I could get to feel good, I could get to be satisfied completely by helping others, I was prepared to sign that contract. I was in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it was still selfish.
Right.
I was chasing a feeling. If I get as part of the bargain, if I bring my biggest game and I bring the gifts I was given around, genuinely enthusing around people and encouraging people and getting behind them and giving them strategy and keeping them accountable and seeing them across the finish line. And I don't need to act that. I don't need to act enthusiastic about that. That's just when I talk about it, think about it, and I'm doing it. It's pure energetic flow. Right? There's no effort. So I thought, if I can do that and I can feel good, mm-hmm. then I'm in.
Yeah.
So it was still a huge motive because there was a payoff for me. But I've since discovered that payoff rests very nicely on the conscience. It rests very easy on the conscience.
Yeah.
It really does. When the evidence around of when we help people and their life changes and they say, thanks for that. Do you know what? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done. That feels, I'm sure people watching as well, that's priceless. That if it wasn't for you, me and my family, we wouldn't have. That makes me feel worth being in this world.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
It makes me feel that I've got the right to take up the space I do.
Yeah. It's very powerful. Yeah. I felt like that many times in my life, and it seemed like every time I worried about money, and it just always like bit my ass, so to say. It
does. It has a habit of coming and biting you on the arse. So that was the root of what I call the inner game. And of course, the inner game is not exclusive to me. It's a phrase used by many people in many walks of life. But it's just the internal mental world that we create that drives what we do externally, that drives our life. And then it becomes the story of our life. And I realized then that I am the creator. I'm the author of it, good or bad. I have to accept all. It's nobody else's fault. It's mine. Whether I win or whether I lose, it's because of the inner world that I choose.
So powerful. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I realized. And then, of course, when I went back to my tribe, which was the 500 sales guys that at the time I was leading, I then applied this and the 6 other realizations that came to me. I applied them and everybody just bought it. They bought it with no kind of, I didn't need to sell it. I thought I'd have to sell it to people.
Paradoxically, you were selling without selling because you were not concerned about anything else. You were like, if they don't buy it, then I don't care, right? And actually, when you stopped selling, they started buying because
this is the other thing.
You were not the person who like wanted to put everything on yourself. You were the media through which information was flowing to them, to your buyers, right? Almost like a cable. And you are not important as a, talking head. but you are important because you are delivering the perfect information for your customer, and your customer, they go and buy it from you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you hit on another dynamic there when you said you're not selling. Now, here's the distinction that I discovered then as well. And I'd always been aware of it, but I'd never pointed to it. Yeah, I'd been subconsciously aware of this dynamic, but I'd never called it anything. And there's a book, actually, and I've not read this book, but I think the book is about this as well. And the book's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I've read it.
Have you read it?
Yeah.
Now, I think it's about this, and it's this. When I act as if I don't care whether you buy or not, more people buy.
It's slightly different, but essentially it is the same thing, because what the guy's saying in the book is that most of the time we are worrying about the wrong things. We're worrying about what people will think about us. We're worrying about, I don't know, some external things we cannot influence. And in reality, if you cannot influence it, stop worrying about it, because
Absolutely.
as soon as you stop that, then, like you said, you can sell, you can live your life, you can be happy, because you're not concerned about the small stuff that's not important anyway, because you can't influence it anyway. Yeah.
And all that stuff, all that small stuff, is the egoic fear. It's self-centered fear. Created by the ego to protect this long-lasting separate entity that's going from one place to another and has a story.
Yes.
That's what that movement is. Fear of what people think of me, fear of failure, fear I'll look stupid. It's like nobody's ever afraid for the customer.
Right.
It's all about fear for us. Now, what I discovered then as well is when I show up and I am not invested in the outcome. This is the beautiful revelation to me. Maybe it's just me, I'm just simple. Maybe it's other people as well. Maybe they can feed back if anyone's watching. When I show up and I bring my biggest game, and all I'm interested in is bringing my biggest game out of purpose to give people a message, and in order to serve them at the highest level, I just bring it. And I'm not interested in the outcome. I am not invested in the outcome at all. It's all in the now. It's all in bringing it and giving it. It's in the doing, not in the getting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when I live from that, it's so magnetic that people want it and they'll pay for it. And when I discovered I could transfer that skill to other people, then my coaching took off massively. Mm-hmm. When I discovered I could transfer that awareness and that skill to other people so that the people I coach can bring their biggest game with their own gift, that thing that they are passionate about, minds, communication, encouragement of others, getting behind them, coaching them to their success. Other people have their own gift. When I discovered I could transfer that dynamic to other people where they're prepared to just drop every investment in outcomes and just show up to situation after situation, to interaction after interaction in the day, and bring complete present awareness and alertness and nowness to every single one and play huge with no investment in the outcome, they become a walking inspiration.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of having a computer that's got a lot of memory, and when you run 50 programs, 50 apps on it, it starts slowing down, and then it's so slow that the computer freezes and cannot operate. And I think human beings are exactly the same way. Because if you are worrying about 1,000 things in your head, and when you actually come on stage or on the video or whatever, or you just want to sell face to face, you have exactly the same problem. You start worrying about the wrong things. And I love your attitude, because you clear up your head And when you start selling, you don't even think about that anymore.
No.
And that's the beauty of it. I love it. That's
So what the inner game has become is it's become an autobiographical philosophy that I begin every coaching with. So I do not just dive straight into how to sell, say this and do that and do this strategy and press that button and all this sort of stuff, because that's where 99% of training goes, straight to the action. I want to go to what sets up all the action. I want to have a look first and say, right, before we design your sales process, before we go straight into it, I want to know what your relationship's like with selling. Mm-hmm. What's your relationship? How's your relationship with outcomes? Mm-hmm. Tell me how it's set up. What really does light you up inside? Yeah. And what I want to do is I want to calibrate the internal world with that guy or gal who I'm coaching so that they can make a breakthrough for themselves, mm-hmm. like it was for me, so that it's like all their fear of selling in a way that's going to be, they'll feel uncomfortable. They'll feel as if they're being manipulative. A lot of people feel this way, right? They're really happy with talking about the stuff they're passionate about. But when it gets to money and saying to someone, great, let's go ahead, let's go forward, let's work together. It's going to cost you £5,000, $5,000. That's where they get uncomfortable. So I need to first look at that whole dynamic in their internal world, where it's come from, how long it's been going on, the nature of what need it serves. Because everything is a strategy, even mental beliefs are a strategy. So I'll look at what's the payoff to them. And then we can work on dissolving that and setting up a new strategy and some anchors around that new strategy, so that whenever they feel that feeling again, or whenever the thought comes in, I don't like selling or whatever, they've got anchors that I've installed that they can immediately go to that will neutralize that.
That reminds me of a book I wanted to say called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I don't know if you've read it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the what, it's not the how to do something, because you could be teaching how right away. It's the why, because the why actually what makes us tick. And it's not about even the car you want to buy most of the time. For some people it is, but it's rare. Most of the time it is that you want to help your aging mom, or that your sister is dying from cancer, or something like so personal that it really you'd love to change that. You'd love to change it for yourself, for your family, for somebody so close. And that's what makes us stick. It's not the, hey, I just want to buy a brand new computer and that'll be cool. I'm so excited about that,
That's right. It's funny you mentioned that, actually. I did the course, the Simon Sinek's course, the Find Your Why course. I did it a couple of years, 4 years ago, because when I saw the 5-minute TED Talk, the 5-minute version, the short version, it inspired me. And I did the course, and you find your why, and you're online, and you speak to someone else somewhere in the world, and you both swap whys, and you question each other. So it's like a big process, really good. Mm-hmm. And I've spent a lot of time helping other people to find their why as well. So people will say, Paul, I love your purpose. I love your why, because I tell them what my why is. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And they say, I love your why. So where do I get started? And my why is that I wholly believe, after my experience that I've described and shared with you tonight, I believe in doing what we love. Mm-hmm. Doing what we love so much we do it for free, mm-hmm. all day long. Doing that thing that we're so gifted at, that we're naturally and we're strangely more gifted than anybody else at doing. It's innate talent. Mm-hmm. That thing we just love. I believe in doing that in the service of others and getting paid for it. And therefore, everything I do is geared towards helping entrepreneurs get paid for doing what they love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the key there is get paid. What can I bring? My skill, my one gift is around that communication of encouraging and helping others to their success, and it's selling. It's the art of persuasion, which is at the heart of everything worth having in life. I can teach people, I can teach them very quickly the art of persuasion, geared to their own personality type, because use personality profiling, and the personality type of their clients, their perfect clients. I can design that with them so that they know the art of persuasion and that they know it for life. So that for life, they can go out and they can attract the perfect client and they can sell at will. How cool is that?
That's amazing. That's great.
So what that means is they can get paid for doing what they love. They'll never have to go back and work for that bastard guy they hate doing the job they hate for somebody else's. Why?
Fire your boss. That's right.
I did it for years, working for somebody else's why. Prostituting my purpose here on earth for money.
That's what I'm talking about.
And ended up in a nut house.
Yep, totally, totally.
Get passionate about it, and that's my why. Helping entrepreneurs get paid to do what they love.
Yes. And
everyone wants the help to do that. Everyone wants to get paid for doing what they love. It's a reality. You can have that.
Yes. Yep. We have somebody. We have Bert with us, and he's commenting. Well, first of all, he said hi, and he's.
Hey, Bert. How you doing, man?
Hey, Bert. Ask us a question. He's been on my other life, and he has been around, talking about funnels and setting the funnels up with my. We had a live 2-3 days ago, right, Bert? There's a little delay, so hopefully.
Oh, was Bert driving the car on the live you were in together?
Yeah. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I saw it the other day. Yeah, it was great.
Oh, you liked it? Cool.
Yeah, it was a great live.
Yeah. Bert, ask anything you'd like. If you find anything that you'd like to ask us, it'd be awesome.
So that now is the starting point for when I first meet with somebody and we're going to work together, or we're exploring the possibilities that I might be able to add some value to their life. I might be able to get them paid for doing what they love. The first thing is the inner game, and we'll spend a good couple of hours exploring their inner game. I'll share what I've been through so that they know I'm coming from authenticity and coming from it's all true. None of this is bullshit. It's all like real.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you discover it's real, then everything's great from that. This is actually real stuff.
Yeah, and this is
real life-changing stuff.
Yeah, this is the real stuff, because a lot of marketers out there, they just talk fluff. And I just want to just really talk about this, because the internet is full of so-called gurus that are telling you that you got to do this and you got to use this technique and I got this tip for you, but there's nothing behind this fluff. And in the past, I've worked with some of them and I've stopped just because of that, because there's a lot of like techies, like millennials, and I'm a millennial as well. I'm like one of the first ones, newborn millennials. Well, actually, like was born on the border. Anyway, and a lot of people I've met that they were pretty good at selling, but their game kind of expired after a few months, because they were like on the roll. They made like 20-30 grand, and then boom, they disappeared. No one knows them. Why? They did not have a why. They didn't have purpose, and they just wanted quick money, and they burned out. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they became alcoholics. Maybe they're on drugs. Maybe they just quit. Maybe they just got bored. Maybe they just don't know what to do next. Maybe they just made money and spent it on something that's completely unimportant, and they did not invest in themselves. And this is where Paul comes in. Paul has some coaching, like a coaching course on Zoom where he's teaching people how to get to the next step and how to work on yourself to become a better version of yourself and really getting up there, where you could be a better salesperson, better business person, or somebody who's willing to take the next step and grow and become a better person helping other people. Bert is asking,
it's just so hot.
Bert is saying, you're awesome. I think my gift is that people trust me. That's great, Bert. I'm working with my daughter in SMM and teaching her old school people to people interaction. I think there's a misspelling there. People want to biz with who they like and trust. What do you think? What do you think, Paul?
Okay. Give me that again, please. Do you want to really tune into it?
Yeah, no, but I think there is a little misspelling going on. So,
okay, I'll still be okay. Just give me it again.
I'm working with my daughter in SMM and teach her old school people, probably old school marketing. That's probably what
old school selling, old school business. Yeah,
and how to do business with people that like you and trust you. I think he meant like you and trust you. And then he said, what do you think?
I think it sounds terrific. I think that you're able to work with your daughter and share in purpose-driven business is an absolutely beautiful thing. So that you can share in one of life's core truths. And you're passing on to her what's valuable to you. That's lovely. I mean, I've got daughters. I've got grown-up daughters, and that would be an absolute gift to be able to have that time with them like that. So good for you, man. And people doing business with people you like and trust. That's the differentiating point. Is buying from somebody that you like and trust. And what this is often misunderstood. Like people talk about in sales, there are 11 touch points before people buy or all this kind of stuff. That's not my experience. My experience is not that I have to spend on 7 different occasions I have to see you before you like and trust me. It's neither my experience that I need to see you 7 different times or 11 different times before I like and trust you. I can, and I'm quite happy to, make a decision very quickly about whether I trust you. And I'm a good judge. Like most of us are, actually. We all are pretty good judges. If only we listen to our intuition instead of listening to our thinking.
Right.
So, but what I do believe is that in business, the point I'm getting at is we need to trust people. Not sure we actually have to like them to get the value that they bring, but we have to trust them.
And can I add a quick point to it? I wanted to say that the liking and trusting factor is so important, but also it's important to make your customers say yes about 7, 8, 9, maybe 12 times, like you were saying just earlier. And the first time they see you, they gotta like and trust you, but also you need to communicate the trust over and over again, and you have to make them say yes, not just literally say yes, but say yes to you, to your message, to your knowledge, to your information, whatever you're telling them, you need to really communicate it and warm them up. And that reminded me of what Paul was saying about the seven times, when you engage with them. Go ahead, Paul. What do you think?
All I can go on is my experience. And I like to take directly from my experience rather than my thinking or my opinion. Because my opinion is not worth it. It doesn't bring any value. What brings value is my experience. Yeah. So my experience is, you don't have to like me to get value from me. You do have to trust. You do have to trust. That's my experience. But you don't have to like me. I've got 57 LinkedIn testimonials, LinkedIn recommendations, right? The best one I've got, the most persuasive one, the one that people believe more than any other, is from Darren. And I'll try and find it now, so I'll read it to you. There you go. So I've got all the ones. Great Paul is. He was brilliant. He's fantastic. He 10x midlife and all that. And they're all there as well. But sometimes credibility comes from something that's negative, doesn't it? You know, it's like paradoxical.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Darren. Me and Paul had our differences. But sure enough, the skills he showed me has most certainly got me where I am today. Cheers, Paul, and good luck for the future. That's hardly a blinding testimonial, isn't it? But I put it up there, accepted it, and put it on there because we argued. We're just like completely opposite, non-complementary personality types. Okay? It's never going to happen in a million years. But he did trust me. He did trust me. Didn't like me.
I want
he
Paul to be my coach. Sorry.
He trusted me, but he didn't like me. And he's written me that testimonial because he trusts me. And that, for me, is worth more than many of the other testimonials because that's genuine. I mean, they all are, but that's so real. Yeah?
Yes.
So real. So my experience is you don't have to like me to get value from me. It's preferable. And as it happens, everybody I've coached, we have got on well. But it's not experience that you have to. Now, there's one other thing I want to come on to. And this is the point there that you were making, Gene.
Yes.
And the point's about getting people to say yes. Now, I was brought up and taught in the old school selling, in 20th century selling, right? So it was all the getting to yes selling. Every question had to get them to say yes. Every question guided them straight line towards the sale. Shut all the doors as you go along. It was like it was the best of the old school selling. I was taught I was in near London with a bank called HFC Bank, which is a spin-off of a US firm, and we were taught an American selling system, and it was just brilliant, right? But it was drenched in get them to say yes. Now, that was 1990. Now, I've had my coaching business for 5 years now. And around the time I started my coaching business, I made the decision to coach without the addiction to yes. So, because don't you find when you're a consumer, right, whether you're a consumer for a holiday or, you know, a gentleman's suit, business suit, or coaching or anything, right, don't you find when somebody puts a question to you that forces you to say yes, so they say, I'm sure you're a man that likes value, right, Bert? Yes. And I'm sure you'd agree that if you could spend $100 and get $300 worth of value show up in your life, you'd be interested, wouldn't you, Bert? Yes. Don't you feel slightly irritated that he's forcing the yes out of you?
It always leads to yes, right? but
it's an irritated yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But what you're right, what you're saying, Gene, is spot on. We have to get agreement. But the goal isn't to get the word yes. The goal is for them to come with us and agree with us.
Yeah.
So here's the paradox again. This program, man, we got to call it the paradoxical selling, success by paradox. Here's the paradox.
Yeah.
Go for no. Go for no. Right? Go for no.
Well,
is it a crazy? So here's one example. Is it a crazy idea, Bert, for us to have a discussion about your holiday in the summer? Just trade a few ideas, see if I could come up with some value for you and your family. Is that a crazy idea?
Yes.
No.
Yes. No, I'm kidding.
No. Because when I ask you that, or I say, I'm trying to get an appointment or a meeting with somebody, with a target client. Okay, Mr. Jones, John, hi, John. We've not met. We did connect on LinkedIn some time ago. I meant to connect with you, but it did slip my mind. I've got something I feel could be of value to you, John. Is it a ridiculous idea for me to fire it across and then call you back to run through it with you? Is that a crazy idea? He's going to say no, because when I ask for no, he feels centered. He feels as if he's in control.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't see why not. No, it's not a crazy idea. And there's so many different ways to do it. Do you have any objection to sharing this with me? Yeah, do you have any objection to? And they say, no, I've got no objection to that. So it's finding different ways of asking for no, where the no is a positive no. The no is confirming that we're still going forward to the next stage. So it's a positive no. People feel in control with the positive no. They feel like they're in the driving seat. Mm-hmm. It puts them in a position where they're slightly superior to us in that dialogue. Mm-hmm. I tell you, they love it. People love it. Being asked a question which would otherwise historically always have been framed with the yes, we're now framing it with the no. No other salespeople are doing it in your niche, nobody else is doing it. And if you sit down with me and take me through your sales process and who your perfect client is, I'll design the no questions for you. I'll design a suite of them to sprinkle in to your sales meeting, and it will 10x your sales overnight, because they won't realize what's going on. So long as they should be doing it and it's good for them and there's value, then I've got no problem with technique. The art of persuasion in action. And I'm happy to do that. I'll design the no's. I'll design a suite of questions that go for the positive no. That will immediately impact your sales in a big way, man.
So the interaction should be multiple times, but the yes is what really. Okay, here's another way to look at it. The yes cannot be a fake yes. It has to be like a real yes or real no, but the interaction has to happen at least 7 times. And actually, I think maybe I didn't explain myself well the first time, but what I really meant was it was not the yes for like actually saying yes, but it's the like agreement of interaction. And though yes is like kind of an agreement, but no also could be an agreement to something you're talking about. And I always relate this to going to a coffee shop with a friend. And let's say I meet somebody and I decided to have a coffee and we have a conversation. Now, if I keep on saying yes all the time, I will look weird because my friend will think I'm just like, why am I saying yes all the time? I mean, can you imagine I go with you for a coffee and you ask me, hey, do you want a iced coffee? And I hate iced coffee, for example. Then I'm lying to myself. I'm not honest with yourself and I'm not honest with myself. So it's actually a no. Now, if we talk like a normal human being with another human being and we just say, yes, I like this, no, I don't like this, then it's an agreement. And the other person usually, they agree with you. And so, unless they're crazy. And Bert is saying he loves the no questions. I have a book about saying no, and unfortunately I cannot. I'll have to look for it and find it, but it's going to take a while. Yeah, maybe we'll do another live about that. But
here's the actual goal, right? The goal of persuasion is to get them to actually say, that's right. That's right. Not you're right, because when someone says you're right, what they mean is piss off. You're right. You're right. I know you're right.
I give up.
Won't do anything, right? But when someone says that's right, there's power in that.
There is. Step one.
When they say that's right, that's a sign of trust at a deep level. It's a sign that their thinking agrees with your thinking. It's a very deep commitment, that unspoken commitment. It's not, the subtitle is, we are connecting on an intellectual level. That's right. So what we can do to do that is to say, am I right? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And not to do it every sentence so that it's overtly detectable, but to sprinkle it in when you want to make a really important point and gain agreement. You've been going for the no's for some time. In this occasion, don't go for the no, go for the that's right.
Yep. So it really depends. Yep. I like it. I like it, Paul.
And what I do is when I apply these 7 keys to one of my clients, it's really simple what I do. I love the simplicity of it as well. I get you paid for doing what you love. How do I do it? I design 7 keys for your personality and the personality of your perfect client. In other words, the words you need to use to inspire them based on personality profiling. So you spend enough time with me, you get your 7, you learn them, you go out, you 10x your sales, your income, your life. That's how I do it. That's how I do it. So you got why I do it, you got how I do it, and what do I do? Sales coach.
Exactly. And I was gonna say, Paul, we're like at 51 minute already. Like we were gonna do like a 20-minute little quick session.
And we've done 1 key. We've only done 1 key.
Yeah, and this is only the inner game, right? So we're gonna do like 7 lives, and we're gonna cover the 7 keys to 10x your sales, your income, and your life. And so, Paul, what are we gonna tell our listeners? So we wanted to yeah, go ahead.
Our listeners, if and only if you've connected with what our values are here, what we've been discussing in terms of purpose, if you've connected with our purpose, with the stories we've told, with it's all based on and built on reality, experiential, not thinking, not opinions, not some pitch that was designed. No, the people would be like, this is reality. It's experiential. This is lived. So if you've lived through things like this, if this is describing how you think or the reality of your world and you connect with it, then connect with us, because we are bringing this in a very, very big way now. The very big way. And we're going to get the content of all the 7 keys. We're going to bring them to the people who connect with us, who will be our community. We're going to bring them, and we're going to get everybody to master them and apply them to their life so that they can 10x their sales. And you will. My clients have a 10x return on investment. They do. That's what they have. So you'll 10x your sales, you'll 10x your income, you'll 10x your life. If all of that connects with you, then we want you to join our group.
Go to our group.
Join our Facebook group.
I'll put a link.
Yep. Yeah. Because that's when you'll get to know you. That's when you'll get to know us. And I'm not some guru. I'm a bloody anti-guru. I don't want to be some guru on a stage. I want to work with you closely. I want to discuss with you. I want to have lives in the group. I want to get to know your problems, and I want to solve them for you.
Yep. Yeah, Paul. This is it. And I'm going to drop a link to our group about 10x sales, 10x your sales. And we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to put out a lot of information about exactly how to get this done. And we're going to talk about the inner game, about how to get your USP and UVP, which is the value, and how to ask the right questions in, like, when you make a sale. And we're going to bring it to you in the group. And later, we're going to create a training about this. And we're going to have a podcast. And whoever's watching, we want you to be a part of it. And I know for a fact that it's going to help you, because Paul has got many clients that got just amazing results. I've looked at the stats, and it's just, I haven't seen a lot of people doing this. It's literally 10x. So we're going to put some testimonials so people could really see what's going on here. And Paul has been around for 25 years in the business, selling millions of dollars of products, which is amazing. I'm very thankful to have Paul here online with us. And Paul, you're just an inspiration. You're great.
What inspires me is that you've actually created this opportunity for me to help. That's what inspires me. That now because I said something that connected with Eugene, and there's a new opportunity, a fresh opportunity for me to serve a wider audience and solve their problems. And their problem, this is your problem. If we're supposed to be in each other's world, if you're supposed to be in the group, if we're supposed to work together, it's because this is your problem. Your problem is you currently cannot get paid enough to keep doing the thing you love. You're worried about the money because there's not enough of it coming in to keep doing that thing you love. As a business where you get paid by serving others for doing that thing that you love doing so much, you do it all day long. Your gift, your passion. There's not enough money coming in. You're dead passionate about it. You got all the passion in the world. It's coming from purpose. Everything's set up perfectly. There's not enough cash coming in. There isn't enough cash coming in. And you're worried about the business, and you should be, because if you don't fix it, you won't have a business. And I can stop that from happening. I can solve that problem. That's what I do. I can solve it quickly, and I can solve it for good. And it's my why. That's my why.
That's great. Yeah, Bert.
So I'm grateful.
Bert is saying, "Great job, you guys. I'm in. Can't wait to learn from you, Paul." That's great.
Thanks, Bert. Yeah, I look forward to add me on Facebook as well, Bert. Yeah.
Great.
That's cool, man.
Cool,
I'm glad to have met you.
All right. So, Bert, thank you so much for staying with us almost an hour. It's 57 minutes, 57 seconds. It's 58 minutes now. And I hope that you enjoyed the information we've given you here. And hopefully we'll get more people in and get it rolling. Thank you so much.
Thank you.